Hello and welcome. Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India NewsHour, India's voice to the world. I'm Gautam Roy, and coming up in the next hour, India is all set to hold the second of its 7-phase parliamentary elections on Friday. 88 of 543 seats are at stake in 13 states and union territories. The US and 17 other countries call for an end to Gaza crisis and immediate release of all hostages held in Hamas's captivity for over 200 days. The US and the UK issue fresh sanctions against Iran and Russia. Sanctions by the Treasury Department impact an airline, 8 individuals, 5 vessels and 15 entities. And New York's highest court overturns the 2020 sex crimes conviction of former Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein in the case that sparked off the Me Too movement. First up, let's get you the latest on the world's largest democratic election that's unfolding in India. Well, the stage is all set for the second phase of polling for India's parliamentary elections. Polling will be held in 88 seats across 13 states. Kerala will see a single phase with all 20 parliamentary constituencies going to polls on Friday. In Rajasthan, where elections are being held in 2 phases, the polling will be conducted for 13 remaining parliamentary constituencies in the state. The others were polled in the first phase. In Karnataka, polling will be held in 14 seats as well. Here's more.
India is all set for the second phase of parliamentary elections scheduled on Friday. Polling will be held for 88 parliamentary constituencies across 13 states and union territories. The states and union territories that will go to polls are Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Jammu and Kashmir, Karnataka, Kerala, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tripura, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, apart from one part of parliamentary constituency in Manipur, Outer Manipur. Meticulous arrangements have been made at all polling stations for voters' convenience. The elections official in Amravati in Indian state of Maharashtra shared details of preparations for second phase polls.
यहाँ पे सारी पोलिंग पार्टियों की बैठने की व्यवस्था की गई, किसी को भी बाहर धूप में नहीं खड़ा रहना पड़ेगा या लाइन में नहीं लगना पड़ेगा. उनके लिए सीटिंग की व्यवस्था की गई है, वहीं पे उनको साहित्य दिया जा रहा है.
The second phase polling will also witness voting for Jammu parliamentary constituency in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. The Jammu seat is spread over 4 districts including Jammu, Samba, Riyasi and a lone assembly constituency from Rajouri. The southern state of Karnataka will witness voting for 14 parliamentary constituency. All arrangements are in place for the second phase of polls. EVM machines and VVPAT machines have been dispatched to polling booths. While in Kerala, all 20 parliamentary constituencies will go to polls in a single phase on Friday, the Election Commission has made elaborate arrangements to ensure a smooth conduct of the elections in Kerala. In Bihar, 50 candidates are in fray in 5 parliamentary constituencies for the second phase of polls. All security arrangements are in place for the polls on 26th of April.
In Bhagalpur, there is an election of 7 constituencies, in which 6 constituency comes under 26 Bhagalpur Loksabha and 1 constituency of Sultanganj comes under Banka Loksabha constituency, and we are fully prepared. We have briefed the whole team of polling personnel and security personnel regarding the conduct of election.
In Rajasthan, a stage is set for polling on 13 remaining parliamentary constituencies in the state. 12 of the 25 seats in Rajasthan have already completed their polling in the first phase. In West Bengal, 3 seats including Darjeeling, Raiganj and Balurghat will go to polls in the second phase of poll. In Darjeeling, polling personnel have set out after due process of checking electronic voting machines and control units from the government college. Fuzail Ahmed's report for DD India.
And let's take you across now to my colleagues who are joining us from different parts of the country going to polls in the second phase on Friday. You can see on the screen Devendu Mondal, who's joining us from Katihar in Bihar. We've got Deepika joining us from Tripura, and also we have Nandita Dagar from Jammu. First to you, Devendu. Katihar has been known to be the pocket borough of former NCP and now Congress strongman Tariq Anwar. He'd left the party over one political issue way back in the late in the 90s, and then he rejoined the Congress as well. He's lost and won from there as well. So how's it looking for him this time around?
Well, Gautam, you're right. Indeed, this has been a bastion of the Congress for a very long time, and Tariq Anwar is once again seeking a re-election from this particular constituency of Katihar. Remember, he had been an MP for a very long time from here, also because the fact that the caste and the community composition, which plays a significant role in Bihar, had been a key to the success of Tariq Anwar from this particular constituency. But since the last 1.5 decade, this bastion was breached by the BJP through the Modi juggernaut in 2014. So of course, this time around, Tariq Anwar hopes to ride on the said anti-incumbency of the sitting member of parliament from this particular constituency, Dulal Chandra Goswami. So of course, the contest here is going to be a tough contest. We have been speaking to a couple of people here. So of course, the people are divided on the fact as to who they would like to elect for their member of parliament this time around. So of course the contest seems very tough. The contest seems to be interesting here because of the fact that both the Congress as well as the JDU, which is the BJP's ally, is giving a tough fight to each other here from the Katihar constituency. Back to you, Gautam.
All right, Devendu. Deepika, where Devendu is heat wave, in fact, is a major concern. What is it like in Tripura, and what can you tell us about the preparations that have been made to tackle this rising heat challenge?
It is indeed, good evening Gautam, it is indeed very hot and humid here in Tripura, because we know that Tripura also has a place where the Tropic of Cancer, it passes through the Tropic of Cancer, and that is why it makes it really hot over here. But when we talk to the people here, not only the Election Commission of India, which is making special arrangements for the voters, giving them shade, giving them water at different polling booths, but also the different parties, the two main parties which are in fray, which is the BJP and the CPIM, they are also making special arrangements and trying to get glucose for the booth voters here, and for the booth officials also here. We also had a word with all the local residents, all the voters, from the first time voters to the experienced voters, and they said that preferably they would go in the first half, and especially in the morning, to go out and vote. And when we talk that it is really hot, if you miss go out in the morning, then what would you do? Then many of them very happily said that weather is a regular phenomena, but parliamentary elections, they happen once in 5 years. So indeed, they are really upbeat about voting, turning down the consequences of heat here in East Tripura, Gautam.
Okay, sounds good. I hope they stick to their word and come out in large numbers, break records and all that. Nandita, what can you tell us about the contest in Jammu? Because even Jammu can get pretty hot in the summer. What kind of issues have been topmost on the voters' minds in this strategically important part of the country?
Yes, good evening, Gautam. Jammu has so far not witnessed that intense heat wave that Devendu and Deepika are talking about. Though the issues are here, the revocation, this is the first election in the state of J&K after the revocation of the Article 370 in 2019. This Jammu constituency is special because about 12 polling booths are on the international border with Pakistan, and some of them are on the line of control. control. So you can just imagine that there is a possibility of shelling, and for that the election commission here, we spoke to the returning officer. He informed us that elaborate arrangements and standard operating procedures and protocols have been set in place so that in case of any contingency or shelling or firing, the requisite measures can be taken. Of course, the BJP's Jugal Kishore Sharma battling the Congress's Raman Bhalla. Looking to win, Mr. Jugal Kishore Sharma of BJP looking to make a hat-trick. He has been the MP here twice in 2014 and 19. Also, anti-incumbency will be a factor. Some things, some issues like rising power bills and some local government recruitment scams might also figure in this election. Apart from that, Jammu is generally a constituency which is peaceful, and not many untoward incidents have been witnessed in Jammu. Although 80 lakh rupees of cash has been confiscated by the election commission, over 800 liters of illegal liquor has been confiscated so that it is not used to induce or falsely influence the voters. The election commission, there are more than 600 voters who are above 100 years of age in this constituency. So you can just imagine lakhs of first time voters coupled with more than 600 voters who are above the age of hundreds, above they are centenarians. So you can just imagine it's going to be a very colorful election as far as the Jammu constituency is concerned.
Well, let's hope that everybody who wants to vote gets to vote regardless of their age, whether they're centenarians or first-time voters. Thanks a lot for joining us, Nandita, and also you, Deepika, as well as Dibendu, and talking about what's in store for tomorrow in India's great democratic exercise. Now, DD India's Siddharth Bhardwaj has been in Wayanad in the southern Indian state of Kerala, which is witnessing a triangular contest for the Lok Sabha elections. Wayanad goes to polls in the second phase of the Lok Sabha elections on the 26th of April, which is Friday, tomorrow. And all of Kerala, in fact, 20 seats are at stake there as well. Now, Siddharth is finding out more about what's it like in Wayanad.
I am here in Wayanad now, which is a high-profile constituency, and it's a triangular battle here. It's a high-octane contest here. Nestled amidst the verdant beauty of Wayanad, a crucial political showdown is underway as the constituency braces itself for the upcoming polls. Preparations are in full swing across Wayanad as polling booths gear up to facilitate voters in what is being hailed as the celebration of democracy. Security measures are being ramped up, with authorities conducting rigorous checks to ensure a smooth voting process for residents. In an exclusive conversation, Dr. Renu Raj, District Collector and District Magistrate of Wayanad, emphasizes the tight security arrangements ahead of the polls on April 26th.
We are fully geared up with the security arrangements as well as the election preparations. We wanted to bring in some icon which raises the feeling of, feeling an ownership by the people of Wayanad, the voters of Wayanad. So why not the indigenous species of this dragonfly? So we are using Sweetie, which is this dragonfly, to bring in those feelings which will motivate our voters to come to the polling stations in very large numbers.
The anticipation is palpable among Wayanad's residents as they eagerly await their turn to cast their votes.
Everybody is really thrilled. So I should say that India, each and every people, they are looking into this Wayanad, what is going to happen here.
I believe that Wayanad will lead India in progress, in development. For that, all the people, youngsters, elderly, all are eagerly looking forward to the election.
As the stage is set for a triangular political contest, the fate of Wayanad ultimately rests in the hands of its discerning voters. Well, the Wayanad constituency will witness the ultimate electoral showdown when the residents will go to poll on April 26. The polling booths are ready, and so are the voters. With camera person Senthil Kumar, this is Siddharth Bhardwaj reporting for DD India in Wayanad.
Now, with just few hours to go for the phase 2 of the Lok Sabha elections, DD India's Anil Thomas, in a special show, The Great Indian Election, did some number crunching for our viewers. Let's take a look at what Anil has for us.
These 88 seats. Let's quickly do a number crunch. We have done the north, the central and western part of India. Quickly dipping into south and eastern part of India. This is where the 88 seats will be fought. The biggest among them, Kerala, all 20 seats. Karnataka, another big state. You've got Rajasthan, an important state. Uttar Pradesh, 8 seats in Uttar Pradesh, 8 seats in Maharashtra, 6 seats in Madhya Pradesh. To the east, Assam 5 seats. You've got Manipur, Tripura, all having 1 seat each. West Bengal having 3 seats. And that's where this particular election is going to get interesting, these 88 parliamentary seats. Look at now, across the 5 streams that we have cut, the north, BJP leads, or the NDA leads 9-0. Center, 9-0. West, 21-0. South is where the big battle will be played. 13 to the NDA, 21 to the opposition bloc. East, 12-3. You negate that 21 out, still the NDA having a lead of close to 30 to 35 or 40 seats even in this particular phase. And our final look, this is the 88 seats that go to polls in the second phase. 64 with the NDA. The opposition bloc having 24 seats. Can they make inroads, or will the NDA consolidate? That's going to be the big question that we are going to look at. It's going to be an interesting phase, a phase that one must not miss, and watch it for all the twists and turns that unfold.
Today, tomorrow, as the second phase of polling goes on. For the moment, we're slipping into a quick break. And right after that, you'll see coming up, Russia says it may downgrade ties with the US if its assets are confiscated by Western governments. The US and 17 other countries issue an appeal for Hamas to release sick, elderly and wounded hostages as a pathway to end the crisis in Gaza. And former Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein's 2020 rape conviction is overturned by New York's top court.
Versus facts. In-depth news and analysis with experts who will help you decide why this election matters. DD India is the main election headquarters with numbers most accurate, data most reliable, and viewership across the platforms. Stay tuned to the Great Indian Election only on weekdays at 8:30 p.m. IST and 1500 hours GMT.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, amid the Russia-Ukraine conflict, Russia and the US, their ties are getting strained. Kremlin has asserted that the delivery of US long-range army tactical missile systems to Ukraine will not alter the war's outcome, but could exacerbate Ukraine's challenges. Meanwhile, Belarus President Alexander Lukashenko has suggested peace talks amid a stalemate on the Ukrainian front line. More in this report.
Amid the Russia-Ukraine conflict, Russia and US ties are getting strained. Kremlin asserts that the delivery of US long-range army tactical missile systems to Ukraine will not alter the war's outcome, but could exacerbate Ukraine's challenges.
The US is directly involved in this conflict. They are following the path of increasing the operation range of the weapon systems they supply. This will not fundamentally change the outcome of the special military operation. We will achieve our goal, but this will cause more problems for Ukraine itself.
US earlier confirmed that a significant number of long-range missiles were recently shipped to Ukraine and that Ukraine has now used them twice against Russia. US also confirmed that it will send more of it for Ukraine.
I'm able to confirm, as you've heard from others, that in February the President directed his team to provide Ukraine with a significant number of ATACMS missiles for use inside Ukraine's sovereign territory. That shipment started moving in March as part of the PDA that the President authorized on March 12th, and those missiles have arrived in Ukraine. We will send more now that we have additional both authority and money.
On the international front, Belarus President Alexander Lukashenko suggests a stalemate on the Ukrainian front line and proposes initiating peace talks, citing preliminary discussions held in Turkey between Russia and Ukrainian officials as a potential starting point.
We should start with the Istanbul Agreement, which President Putin often talks about. After they were worked out in Istanbul, he handed over to me. I looked at them again. Those are quite normal agreements. This does not mean that as a result of the negotiations, these agreements initiated by the parties will be accepted or even become the basis of a peace treaty. No, but you can start with them and move forward.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with UK Finance Minister Jeremy Hunt in Kiev following Britain's announcement of its largest ever military aid package for Ukraine. Zelensky advocated for stricter sanctions against Russia and sought solutions to prevent Moscow from circumventing them.
Now, US Supreme Court justices on Thursday quizzed lawyers for Donald Trump and Special Counsel Jack Smith about the former president's claim of immunity from prosecution for trying to undo his 2020 election loss, posing questions about what happens if a president sells nuclear secrets, takes a bribe, or orders a coup or assassination. Trump appealed after lower courts rejected his request to be shielded from 4 election-related criminal charges on the grounds that he was serving as president when he took the actions that led to the indictment obtained by Special Counsel Jack Smith. Trump, the Republican candidate challenging Democratic President Joe Biden in the 5th of November election, is the first former US president to be criminally prosecuted. And Donald Trump's criminal hush money trial is currently underway in New York, and he was seen interacting with locals in New York ahead of his criminal trial on Thursday. The halt came as Donald Trump's team grapples with how to continue campaigning as the former president remains largely confined to New York pending trial. So 2 scenes of action concerning Donald Trump. One is, of course, New York and the other DC. We're joined by DD India's Caroline Manoj from DC. Hi Caroline, what can you tell us about how this particular hearing is going on? Immunity is something that Donald Trump has been saying off and on, but are the judges really interested in that sort of a justification for his actions?
Well, there's been about 2 hours of arguments now at the Supreme Court where the country's top justices have been listening to both sides and trying to understand this argument being put forward by Trump's lawyers, which is that he should have immunity from prosecution related to election interference cases. Now, the arguments that they've been using have been that Trump was acting in an official capacity. He was in the White House in events surrounding and leading up to and on the day of January 6th, on the Capitol attack day that happened in 2021, and therefore, he can't be prosecuted. He should be immune because he was president at the time of those acts. And that is related to the special prosecution case that they want to put forward against Trump. They say that there are alleged acts that show that Trump was trying to interfere in the election. They say that on the day that protesters came to the Capitol, we saw, a number of violent people move into the Capitol and try to stop the election process, and they want to try Trump on that case and the wider surroundings of it. So hearing really from both sides about a very important case with huge implications of whether he can in fact be tried on election interference.
Right, and Caroline, what can you tell us about what's going on in New York? I believe David Pecker has said some more incriminating things as far as Donald Trump is concerned in that particular case.
That's right. So, there are 4 wider criminal sets of cases against Donald Trump. The one in New York is a different case. It's a hush money case, which has to do with alleged payments to an adult movie star, and that business and that Trump's businesses, teams, lawyers tried to cover up those payments at the time. Now, we've heard from Pecker, who's from the media industry, and he's been giving statements that allege that he'd had agreements at the time to basically only promote positive positive Trump stories to try and make rivals look bad in the way that they told their press, to be the eyes and ears basically for the Trump campaign at that time, to find out what stories are out there, and also to do something called catch and kill. Ultimately, when stories came to them that might make Trump look bad, to kill them, to buy them from the reporters, to make sure that they didn't see air. So really an important witness giving evidence in this case. There likely will be a number of other people who give important statements surrounding this hush money payment trial, and it could be some weeks before we get a verdict in that.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see if this sort of statement and some similar statements are corroborating each other or not. I'm sure that is something that Trump's defense will be looking at very closely as well during cross-examination. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment. Caroline Manone from Washington, D.C. Now, Israel spokesperson David Mencer has said that Hamas walked away from negotiations to release hostages. Addressing a press conference, Mencer added that the Israeli war cabinet held a meeting to discuss how to destroy the last vestiges of Hamas's battalions in Rafah and elsewhere in Gaza.
Point you to the fact that the war cabinet meets right now to discuss how to destroy the last vestiges, the last quarter of Hamas's battalions in Rafah and elsewhere in Gaza. They're meeting right now. They're feeling the pressure, and what a surprise, they're starting to make pseudo-conciliatory remarks. We're not going to fall for it. I don't think anyone in the world.
Meanwhile, the United States and 17 other countries have urged Hamas to release hostages and end the Gaza crisis. According to the joint statement, the deal is on the table to release the hostages that would bring immediate and prolonged ceasefire to Gaza. It also says that the fate of the hostages and the civilian population in Gaza, who are protected under international law, is of international concern. The deal has been signed by countries that include Argentina, Austria, Brazil, Canada, France, Spain and the United Kingdom. Also, the US on Thursday issued further sanctions on Iran, targeting the sale of Iranian drones and commodities, including Russia's use of Iranian drones in the war in Ukraine. US Treasury's Undersecretary for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence Brian Nelson said, and I quote, "Iran's Ministry of Defense continues to destabilize the region and world with its support to Russia's war in Ukraine, unprecedented attack on Israel, and the proliferation of UAVs and other dangerous military hardware to terrorist proxies. The United States, in close coordination with our British and Canadian partners, will continue to use all means available to combat those who would finance Iran's destabilizing activities." And Britain also announced new sanctions targeting Iran's military drone industry in response to Iran's drone and missile attack on Israel earlier this month. The measures, taken in coordination with the US and Canada, target 4 businesses and 2 directors at a network of drone companies with the aim of limiting Iran's ability to launch drones. British Foreign Secretary David Cameron said that, and I quote, "The Iranian regime's dangerous attack on Israel risked thousands of civilian casualties and wider escalation in the region." And US Secretary of State Antony Blinken raised concerns about China's trade policies and non-market economic practices. Blinken, who's on a visit to China, also stressed that the United States seeks a healthy economic competition with China and a level playing field for US workers.
Antony Blinken arrived in Beijing on Thursday and is meeting his counterpart Wang Yi. The US Secretary of State delivered a strong warning to China about the need to curb exports of machine tools and microchips to Russia, which it suspects Moscow is using to make weapons for use against Ukraine. Earlier, Blinken's 3-day China visit also took him to Shanghai, where he met with business leaders and students. He reaffirmed America's commitment to a stable relationship with China, while calling on Beijing to provide a level playing field for American businesses.
One of the things that President Biden and President Xi agreed when they met in San Francisco was that we have to continue to find ways to put as much stability as possible into the relationship, to make sure that we're managing the relationship responsibly, which we're committed to doing.
The Chinese Foreign Ministry reacted by saying that Beijing has always carried out economic and trade cooperation in accordance with market principles.
China has always carried out economic and trade cooperation in accordance with the principle of the market and has always been firmly supportive of the multilateral trading system and fully implements the rule of the World Trade Organization.
US-China ties have been going through an ebb and flow in recent times. Relations plunged to all-time lows early in 2023 with the Chinese spy balloon fiasco. American fighter planes shot down a suspected Chinese surveillance balloon. The balloon was shot down over water after it passed over the US mainland. US put restrictions on export of high-end chips and other tech to China last year. Blinken's current trip to China is a bid to stabilize ties. Blinken's visit follows the high-profile visit of US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. Yellen's visit focused on telling China to curb its manufacturing overcapacity. Cheaper goods from China have been flooding the US market, harming the domestic industry. But irritants remain. Just around Blinken left for China, the US Senate passed 4 bills, which included military aid of $8 billion for Taiwan, a territory claimed by Beijing. Another law is tailored to ban Chinese-owned social media app TikTok if its parent company ByteDance doesn't sell it into American hands within a year. But the US is hopeful that China will not react adversely to these moves, as it is facing multiple economic challenges and needs investments. Bureau Report, DD India.
And still to come on DD India NewsHour, we'll be speaking with our special expert guest trying to dissect the implications of Phase 2 Lok Sabha elections in India. 25th of April marks World Malaria Day. We get you a special report from India and the world. And India's foreign exchange reserves, which have reached an all-time high, are sufficient to cover 11 months of projected imports.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Gautam Roy. Let's now get you to talking about the second phase of elections in the country, where 88 seats in 13 states are going to polls. Remember, India has a total of 543 seats in parliament, so 88 of them are going to polls in the second phase from the north to the south of the country. Remember, it's a 7-phase election, and joining us now to talk about is senior journalist Shekhar Iyer. Shekhar, how critical is this phase for the final outcome that we'll see shaping the next government in the country?
Well, Gautam, in this phase, BJP had won 52, rather 72 of the 88 seats they had won last time. So this is a very important phase.
You're talking about the NDA then?
Yeah.
64, I think.
Yeah, and the Congress won 18 seats, of which 16 came from Kerala. So therefore, the voting tomorrow in Kerala and also in Maharashtra and Karnataka. These are 3 important states where the elections are taking place, apart from the other states that you mentioned. And some of the key constituencies where, the seats were won by slim margins. There are at least 26 such seats. And, there are seats like Meerut, Kanker, Chamarajnagar, across, spread out to different places. So these are And of these seats, some are considered, 24 swing seats. The sense, they could swing this way or that way. But we have seen a very, very intensive campaign, both by the NDA as well as the India Alliance, particularly the BJP on one side and the Congress on the one side. And also in this election, as I mentioned earlier, Maharashtra, Karnataka, these are the two states, some of these states hold, these are considered key states in this contest. Of course, compared to the first phase, the second phase is seen as more of a phase where the BJP is on a very strong position compared to the first phase. So therefore, there is a, I must say that there is a lot of confidence among the ruling BJP led alliances that particularly Karnataka, where they have got an alliance with Janata Dal Secular, and in other places. And we have already seen the kind of election rhetoric, peaking up with several leaders.
Yes, I wanted to come to that and ask you about the campaigning. Did you notice a discernible change in the tone and tenor and the content of the campaigning in the second phase compared to the first one?
Yeah, indeed. In fact, for the second phase, we have seen the issues of, the affirmative action, redistribution of wealth. These are some of the issues we have heard in the last few days. Particularly what the Congress manifesto has mentioned and what Rahul Gandhi subsequently said in Hyderabad on April 6, followed by Prime Minister making one of the sharpest attacks on the Congress with regarding attempts to dilute the quota for the other backward classes by trying to include minorities in that list. All kinds of serious issues concerning the promises made by both sides we have seen, and each side has accused the other of exaggeration and not telling facts. Because we have also seen Congress making claims, in fact, for even during the first phase also, that BJP is out to completely end the reservation for OBCs, which is again not a true. So we have seen that because of this sharp rise in the election rhetoric, so there have been accusations and counter accusations. But with this, we are now into the thick of the elections. The first phase got over. The second phase we are going to see tomorrow. Then soon we will be in the third. So one can see that there is a sufficient concern by the parties to see that their traditional bases vote for them. And along with that, Gautam, there is a lot of concern about the weather conditions. Already the weather office has warned of heat wave in some of the states where the polling is taking place tomorrow, and sufficient care has been advised by the Election Commission regarding supply of drinking water and other things in polling booths because of the heat wave. And all the parties are worried about the turnout, because turnout is also a factor. Among other things, it is also affected by heat. So I think these are the things that is there on the minds of all political parties when the second round takes place tomorrow.
Yes, heat is a big factor, and I'm sure that we will see long queues right in the morning from the time when the polling commences at 7 a.m. in most places, Shekhar, because I doubt people want to step out late around 4 or 5 o'clock. It gets very hot at that time in many of these places. Now, the other factor is VVIPs. Again, a very, very interesting phase where you not only have everybody's talking about Wayanad because Rahul Gandhi, the former Congress president, is contesting from there, but there are many other leading lights of the political firmament in the fray in this phase as well, including Loksabha Speaker and former actor or actors Arun Govil as well as Hema Malini.
Yeah, indeed. This is, you have got lot of, as you said, political personalities are in the fray in the second round. Yes, we have seen that, for instance, all these, you mentioned about Hema Malini, she has been out campaigning in Mathura. This will be her, she's seeking a third term, and this is a very, very, one of the challenging phases of elections. And she's going on the strength of the popularity of the Prime Minister, as well as the work she has did in her constituency. Similarly, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, he is also, this is His attempt is for a third term, so you can see that kind of excitement that is running high in his constituency, Kota, for instance. So there are other constituencies also. You know, for instance, southern Karnataka is going to polls. So southern Karnataka, you know, you've got they have got a son-in-law, actually Dr. Manjunath. He's a very famous heart specialist who is contesting elections, and this time there is an alliance, a very formal alliance between BJP and the Janata Dal Secular. So everybody is looking at how this alliance will play out in these elections, because both these parties are looking at the traditional support base. One being Lingayat, who are known as traditional supporters of the BJP, and the Vakalinga community, which is seen as supporting Janata Dal Secular. And on the Congress, on the other hand, Congress, having done well in the last assembly elections, is also very confident that they will be able to repeat a good performance in the Lok Sabha elections. Though we have seen Karnataka has voted differently in parliamentary elections as well as in assembly elections.
Correct. And as far as high-profile contest is concerned, I should have mentioned Thiruvananthapuram or Trivandrum as well, because there's Shashi Tharoor, Dr. Tharoor there, and there's Rajiv Chandrasekhar, India's Minister of State for IT. That's a very high-profile battle as well, and there's no dearth of those as far as these elections are concerned, and I'm sure we'll be talking about them in the coming days as well. Shekhar, thanks a lot for joining us for the moment. Now, leaders of various political parties have intensified their campaign for the third and fourth phase of elections as well. Leaders addressed multiple rallies and held roadshows in various parts of the country to woo voters in favour of their candidates. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in Madhya Pradesh as well as in Uttar Pradesh. Leaders of opposition parties too were seen campaigning across the nation.
Campaigning is in full swing for the third phase of 7-phased parliamentary polls in India. The ruling BJP senior leader and Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold 32 rallies and roadshows across 10 states in the next 10 days. He addressed a public rally in Morena of the central Indian state of Madhya Pradesh on Thursday. During the rally, PM Modi said that Morena has always supported those for whom it is country first.
कांग्रेस के शहजादे अब आजकल वो जरा इतने चिंतित है कि आए दिन उनको मोदी का अपमान करने में मजा आता है। मोदी के लिए भला बुरा कहना उनको मजा आ रहा है। वो कुछ भी बोलते जा रहे हैं और मैं देख रहा हूं सोशल मीडिया में, टीवी में बहुत सारे लोग चिंता जताते हैं कि भाई ये भाषा अच्छी नहीं है। ऐसी भाषा देश के प्रधानमंत्री के लिए बोलना ठीक नहीं है, ऐसा लोग सोशल मीडिया में कहते हैं। कुछ लोग बहुत दुखी हो जाते हैं कि मोदी जी को ऐसा क्यों बोला, देश के प्रधानमंत्री के लिए ऐसी भाषा का क्यों प्रयोग किया, देश के प्रधानमंत्री को कभी कोई ऐसा बोलता है क्या। मेरी सबसे विनती है कि कृपा करके आप दुखी मत होइए, आप गुस्सा मत कीजिए। आपको पता है वे नामदार है, हम तो कामदार है।
The Prime Minister addressed another rally in Uttar Pradesh's Agra, Shahjahanpur and Bareilly. BJP leader Rajnath Singh addressed a public gathering at Lakhimpur Kheri in Uttar Pradesh. BJP leader Amit Shah held a public meeting at Medak in the southern state of Telangana. He also attended a public rally in Sambalpur in the eastern state of Odisha. Addressing the rally, Amit Shah said that Odisha government has kept the state deprived of development. Opposition parties are also leaving no stone unturned to woo voters. While clarifying the stand on the inheritance tax, sparked by its overseas leader Sam Pitroda, Congress General Secretary Jairam Ramesh said that party's manifesto has no mention of it and the party has no plan to impose such a tax if voted to power at the centre.
आर्थिक विषमता को लेकर मैं साफ कर देना चाहता हूं कि इस न्याय पत्र में विरासत कर का कोई जिक्र नहीं है। विरासत कर हमारा एजेंडा नहीं है। और हकीकत यह है कि 1985 में नए प्रधानमंत्री राजीव गांधी जी ने उस विरासत कर को हटाया था।
Samajwadi Party leader Akhilesh Yadav filed his nomination from the northern state of Uttar Pradesh's Kannauj. Aam Aadmi Party has launched its poll campaign Jail Ka Jawab Vote Se, meaning vote is answer to jail in New Delhi over Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's arrest in an excise policy case. In the western state of Maharashtra, NCP-SCP candidate from Baramati, Supriya Sule, campaigned in the constituency. She claimed of fulfilling all promises made in the last 5 years. Syed Afzarul Hassan's report for DD India.
And still to come on DD India NewsHour. FIFA signs partnership with oil and gas conglomerate Saudi's Aramco. The partnership to run through the end of 2027.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, the 25th of April marks World Malaria Day. Some parts of the world continue to face the worst outbreaks of the disease. Climate change has made the situation worse. India has made significant strides in tackling the mosquito-borne disease at home. Made in India vaccines are set to play a key role in managing the disease. DD India's Subheshuvendu Ghosh reports from New Delhi.
World Malaria Day is observed every year on April 25th. This year, the theme is accelerating the fight against malaria for a more equitable world. Malaria is a life-threatening mosquito-borne disease commonly found in tropical regions. It primarily spreads through the bites of infected female Anopheles mosquitoes. Typical symptoms among patients include fever, chills and headaches. According to WHO, globally in 2022, there were around 249 million malaria cases and 608,000 malaria deaths across 85 countries. In 2022, Africa was home to 94% of malaria cases and 95% of malaria deaths. 12 countries across Africa are receiving 18 million doses of first ever malaria vaccine over 2023-25 period. WHO has also approved Made in India R21 Matrix M vaccine. There are also concerns around impact of climate change on malaria. We visit the National Centre for Vector-Borne Diseases Control in New Delhi to understand how India is tackling the challenge of malaria.
In our country, there are 33 districts that have been contributing to almost 70% of the cases and almost similar amount of deaths. So these districts have been identified, and as you can see, we are celebrating the World Malaria Day today. And to understand the equitable distribution, these district officers have been invited, and these 33 districts, we are sitting with them, making a micro plan. And in near future, these 33 districts, when their reduction happens, you can well imagine that if 70% cases are being contributed by them today, then we're going to have a success in the times to come.
On World Malaria Day, the centre also showcased simple and effective strategies to prevent the infection. Human societies have come a long way in the fight against malaria, but newer challenges like climate change is making the situation complex. Preventive and coordinated efforts at individual, community and institution levels can play a key role in managing the disease burden. With camera person Vishwabandhu Goyal, Shubhendu Ghosh for DD India, Delhi.
Now, India's rank in the World Bank's Logistics Performance Report has improved to 38 in 2023 from 54 in 2014, with Indian policymakers recognizing the significance of logistics during a conference organized by CII for the first time on resilient exports and logistics for trade and connectivity. DD India's Jayanti Jha brings us this report.
On a very important and timely
For the first time, a conference focused on resilient exports and logistics for trade and connectivity was organized by the Confederation of Indian Industry. In today's world, logistics is the cornerstone on which efficient global supply chains are built.
My take is that resilience in supply chains would require a 360-degree approach. One, it will require resilient supply chains. That would happen if we don't put all our eggs into one basket. We have to scout for products availability. Second, it has to be through interconnectivity, infrastructure development. Third, it has to be through productivity enhancement. And fourth, of course, sustainability and climate change. So these are four dimensions which need to be looked at holistically to improve the resilience in supply chains.
India's rank in World Bank's Logistics Performance Index has improved to 38 in 2023 from 54 in 2014, with Indian policymakers recognizing the significance of logistics. This can be seen in various government initiatives like Sagarmala for port-led development, the National Logistics Policy launched in 2022, PM Gati Shakti, Make in India, and Unified Logistics Interface Platform to increase foreign trade, minimize delays, and maximize efficiency.
On the global standards, we are coming on a much better scenario, and I'm sure with the various initiatives being taken by the government, we would see that we will further improve our logistics performance. As we have heard, now we are counted amongst the best ports in the global logistics index.
The conference saw speakers from both government and industry who spoke of the necessity of an efficient logistics network for enhanced trade in an interconnected world. With camera person SP Dubey for DD India, this is Jayanti Jha.
India's foreign exchange reserves, which have reached an all-time high, are sufficient to cover 11 months of projected imports, according to the monthly economic review report of the Finance Ministry. Also, the current foreign exchange reserves are sufficient to cover more than 100% of total external debt. India's foreign exchange reserves have risen for the 7th straight week to hit an all-time high of $648.5 billion on the 12th of April. The foreign exchange reserves are assets that are held by our nation's central bank or monetary authority. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi had a telephonic conversation today with Giorgia Meloni, Italy's Prime Minister. The Prime Minister Modi extended his greetings to Prime Minister Meloni and the people of Italy on the occasion of the 79th anniversary of Liberation Day. Prime Minister Modi thanked Prime Minister Meloni for the invite to the G7 summit outreach sessions to be held in June 2024 in Puglia, Italy. The leaders discussed taking forward the important outcomes from India's G20 presidency, especially that support the Global South at the G7 summit under Italy's presidency. They reaffirmed their commitment to continue to strengthen the bilateral strategic partnership. The two leaders also exchanged views on regional and global developments of mutual interest. India has made a strong impression at the Global Education and Training Exhibition 2024, currently underway at the Dubai World Trade Center. Boasting of the largest presence at the event, the India Pavilion showcases the country's commitment to international higher education. The exhibition is jointly organized by the Services Export Promotion Council of Commerce Ministry and India's General Consulate in Dubai. GetEx 2024 is a 3-day event bringing together over 200 universities from 30 countries.
Participation in GTEx is to attract students from this UAE region as well as from other parts of the world. And last year also we participated in GTEx and definitely it gave good results to various institutions. This year we are expecting about 15% increase in students coming to India from Indian diaspora mainly. At the same time, we are also looking at collaboration with foreign universities in Dubai. Again, many Indian universities are setting up campuses here. So this exhibition explores those opportunities.
Now, Harvey Weinstein's 2020 conviction for sexual assault and rape was overturned by New York's highest court, reopening the landmark case that launched the Me Too movement and highlighting the challenges of holding powerful men accountable. In a bitterly divided 4-3 decision on Thursday, the State Court of Appeal said the trial judge made a critical mistake by letting women testify that Weinstein assaulted them, even though their accusations were not part of the charges he faced. The court said the trial judge compounded the error by letting Weinstein be cross-examined on a broad range of loathsome conduct, including bullying and fits of anger towards associates that portrayed him in a highly prejudicial light. Weinstein, who is 72 years old, has been serving a 23-year sentence in a prison in upstate Rome, New York. Now let's take a look at some of the other updates coming in from around the country as well. But according to the latest data of National Career Service Portal, jobs listing rose threefold to 10.9 million in financial year 24 from 3.48 million in 2022-23. This was the highest vacancy mobilization by the government portal in any year since its launch in 2015. And in sports, World Soccer governing body FIFA has signed a partnership with oil and gas conglomerate Saudi Aramco that will run through to the end of 2027. FIFA President Gianni Infantino, in a statement, said this partnership will assist FIFA to successfully deliver its flagship tournaments. The 4-year deal will see Aramco become a worldwide partner of FIFA, including in major tournaments such as the World Cup 2026 and the Women's World Cup 2027. And that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download the app now. Also, we'll be back with more news and updates as the break here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.